Hey everyone, welcome back to Open. So, entering the Holy of Holies. It's a spiritual and educational organization whose mission is to provide meditation, healing, and spiritual tools to balance the spirit, mind, and body for individuals seeking personal growth and spiritual development, regardless of faith or religious affiliation. They provide meditation workshops, classes, seasonal cleanses, retreats, and West African dance classes to teach people how to heal their hearts and recreate their lives in love. And here now to share more is entering the Holy of Holies founder and CEO, Reverend Nafisa Sharriff. Hello and
Hello,
welcome.
Rhina. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Blessings to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. So I am already feeling the vibration because you were bringing it, right? And it's intentional. So I want you to know I'm receiving it.
Beautiful.
So namaste.
Namaste.
And I really want to open up with talking about, first of all, the name of the organization, right? Entering the holy of the holiness, like entering the holy of the holies. So that's intentional as well. Can we start there?
We can. In a minute, we're going to start with me saying, thank you for having me. And this is truly family. I said to you, you look like my sister. Everything about you, we're so deeply connected in family and heart. So it's easy and effortless to be here. So thank you so much.
Why are you trying to make me cry? And I say that endearingly because I feel it that deeply as well. So it's really refreshing. Thank you for that
You're
reflection.
welcome. And on a spiritual note, we all do know each other.
Right.
There's a recognition that's at the spirit, heart, soul level. And all the distinctions of color, culture, class, creed, all those things melt away. And there's just the heart, as you said, mi corazón. See?
Right.
And so the smile, the eyes, the soul, that's how we meet, really. And the rest is just the fluff.
Right.
So thank you for that and that opportunity. The name, interesting. I used to watch Dr. Ben Yochanan on Like It Is with Gil Noble many, many, many years ago. I come at a very Catholic background, so Kemetic African was not quite in my background at that time. But I was so intrigued by him, and especially intrigued by going into the Holy of Holies. He would take trips to Kemet or Egypt, and he would tell people not to go into the Holy of Holies. And actually, when I went once, I went a few times, but our tour guide said the same thing. Dr. Ben said, don't go in, we will not go in. But everything in my heart, when I was trying to figure out, well, what am I going to call my organization, God? The Holy of Holies. But Dr. Ben, the Holy of Holies. And so I was struggling with the Holy of Holies, which I'll explain in just a moment. And then one day I was in a bookstore, and a book literally like fell off the shelf. Little book. Okay, buy it.
Right.
I'm on the train, New York City train, page 1, 2, page 3, the Holy of Holies, and I just start bawling. Okay, I got the message.
Yes, of course, you speak the language of the world.
Okay, so the Holy of Holies is actually the very first room that's built in one of the temples. So whoever the temple is being built in honor of, it's not the pillars, it's not the facade, it's not the hieroglyphics, it's none of that. It's the Holy of Holies, the most sacred part of the entire temple. That's where the statue that will rest there, the stone will hold the statue, and only the king, queen, pharaoh, king or queen, and one of the highest priests can go into the Holy of Holies to pray, meditate, commune with God, to offer offerings, all of this. And then when they leave, they would back out, wipe their dirt so you would not disturb the energy of the Holy of Holies, seal, lock the Holy of Holies gate, and then seal it with their emblem. So, of course, the Holy of Holies was not for everybody. But the message I kept receiving was, when you're ready, and then what do you do in the Holy of Holies? You go there to commune with God, to pray with God, to find your answers. So now it's like a big deal. Everybody's going and praying and meditating in candles. but we didn't always. Those holy schools, they were revered or reserved just for special people, upper class, you had to buy your way into or be born into. And at some point, the information, the knowledge, the wisdom became open for everyone. And that's our hope, that we are able to share the secrets of the Holy of Holies, which really are not secrets, with the world.
Right. It's really our birth-given right
Our
and just having
birth-given right.
access to it.
Absolutely.
Having access to the tools.
To the tools.
To the tools.
To the tools.
Yeah, I could sit here and listen to you all day with your soft-spoken way. I'm like, yes, please teach us, please. And so, the other thing I wanted to bring up is the fact that in your writing, I'm going to say this is deliberate as well. Is instead of doing the norm of mind, body, spirit, you do spirit, mind, and body. And I'm assuming that's a certain order in which you engage.
Absolutely. And it actually was brought to my attention by one of our dear friends and volunteers, Lizanne Mitchell, a wonderful actress. And she said the same thing. You're like, Nafisa, your work is spirit first. And I know mind, body, spirit is what everybody says, but it's really spirit. Without spirit, espiritu, you're dead. So you start with spirit. And it made perfect sense, and we changed our writing to spirit, mind, body. You might still see mind, body, spirit, but it's because we haven't changed it yet. But it's really spirit, mind, body.
No,
God first.
I got that. And trust me, I read into it, and I was like, oh, she's very deliberate in everything she does.
Absolutely.
And so it's the new year.
Yes.
And I know you're offering these meditation workshops.
Yes.
And seasonal cleanses.
Yes.
And retreats,
Yes.
right? So I am a meditator myself.
Okay.
Yes, I'm a transcendental meditator.
Okay.
So we encourage our viewers to meditate. So let's start with what style of meditation you offer.
So we call it a universal life force chakra meditation, which means that there wasn't a particular style as transcendental, you would say, or visualization. These were channeled teachings. Now, channeled means disembodied energy is coming through the individual. It's more common now, but back in the 80s, it wasn't very common. Now we have Abraham Hicks, Archangel Michael. We understand being mounted. We understand spirit speaking through people now.
Right.
But back in the 80s, it wasn't so well received.
Right.
But the Brotherhood of Light, who are ascended masters from the fourth and fifth dimensions, came through a woman who was known as the Chohan and gifted humanity with this whole system of teachings. And it was not religious based, it was spiritually based. And so you had no criteria to be one religion or another. This is again back to the openness, excuse me, the community. Everybody is welcome. So almost at the end of everything we write, all are welcome, all are warmly welcome. So you realize you don't have to wear white, you don't have to be a certain color, you don't have to be, just show up with an open heart and a desire to heal.
Which is where all of your work is grounded in.
Absolutely.
It's primarily grounded in the heart. And I know you also incorporate West African dance in your process too.
So it's actually the reverse. I started as a professional dancer, and I was on tour with Stevie Wonder. We finished our tour in November for Thanksgiving, and my mom got really, really sick. So this was November 86. By April 87, she was gone. And I'm one of 13 children, very close, same mom and dad, here in the Bronx, 169th and Webster. That's our background.
Love that.
There we go.
Fellow BX.
Little black girl from the South Bronx.
That's what's up.
And I like to say my mother gave life to me twice, once in my birth and once in her death.
Wow.
Because all of us were just so depressed and out of it. I stopped dancing. I was answering phones for Shearson Lehman, Shearson please hold, Shearson please hold. I didn't go back out with Steve, nothing. And then
You
about
didn't go back out with Steve. She said, Steve, Stevie Wonder me. And then she's talking about Stevie Wonder. I'm like, oh. She rediscovered herself for real.
that being said,
All right.
come October, just still so out of it, one of my sisters said, dear friend Consuelo said, there's someone I want you to meet. And that began the whole journey. And I want to say to everyone, it was not easy and it is not easy. The transformational process, you will kick and scream and fight. I walked into the session, this stuff, and I did not say stuff, is not for me, and I walked out. And my spirit, like you're talking to me here, said, you always give up on yourself. And that was the first time I even heard another voice inside my head so clearly say, you always, and it was truth, give up on yourself. I went back in. And I kept going back in. Now, this woman was out in the West Coast, and I live on the East Coast, so it was a very difficult journey to really keep up with her. But she did tapes, she did some teachings, and then she called and said, come out and visit and stay for an extended span of time. So she worked with me a little bit more than she did with everyone else, I think. And then she just stopped abruptly. And the day she stopped, I had this strong feeling to send her flowers. So I sent her the beautiful dozen peach long stem flowers just because. And her assistant called me to say they were her favorite flowers. She had just received them and she was closing down.
Wow.
And that was it. So now I'm left with, okay, now what do we do, Lord?
Right.
Blah, 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 the Holy of Holies. So as a dancer who was very depressed, doing my own healing, I brought meditation into my dance class. And then one day, just as a cool down, let's just breathe and connect. And about 5 women surrounded me and said, we know you know something for real. When are you going to teach that?
Right.
And that became the very beginning of, okay, let's get in my living room and let's figure this out. And small groups of 12 people. But it was intense healing. And I bring in Native American healing sticks and talking sticks and smudging and prayer and meditation. And then, of course, these very powerful chakra meditations to clear and heal. So the mirror is right here. This is Michael Jackson, right?
Right.
The man, the woman in the mirror. There's no one else to blame, not even God. You're looking at yourself. And you either do the work or you don't. You take the responsibility or you don't. No pressure.
Right.
But that's the journey.
Yeah. You know, I could be here all day.
That's okay.
Having this conversation. I know, but we don't. Unfortunately, they're already like, oh, we're running out of time. But I think we shared enough for everyone to get the gist of what your journey has been and where you are now and how you're offering this at the top of the year, which I think is very important, and how really it's a matter of choice. So how do you make it accessible to individuals?
Yeah, so COVID was a great gift in many ways that people were losing their minds and God, what do we do? We're all home. So I started offering free meditation from 8 to 8:30 on Instagram and Facebook simultaneously. And you just don't register, just tap in. And so it went from 7 days a week to 4 days. Now it's 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, on both Instagram and Facebook. And it's both on the website, all on the website. And it's free. And then we save them so that you can go back and meditate later on the next day whenever you wish. So that's a gift, that's a free offering. The website has a free monthly meditation. You can meditate 24 hours a day. This is our 20th anniversary, so we have some wonderful things coming up. Our very first is Creating Sacred Space. It's a virtual workshop. It's a 3-hour workshop to literally, how do I build an altar? The cloth, the fabric, the crystals, the flowers, all of these things. How do I smudge? How do I pour a libation? So we teach that first, and then we meditate.
I love it.
And so it's a free, it's not free, but it's a very low cost.
Right.
And you can
You have a sliding scale?
No, it's just
love offering.
Yeah,
love
that's
offering.
Fine. That's fine.
Yeah,
Well,
because everything is led by the heart.
Right.
Yeah, no, I read. I did my homework. I did my homework. But I love that you're expanding on the exploration, right? Because a lot of what you're discussing, for me anyway, has been intuitive, right? And then there's always that question of, am I doing it right?
Absolutely. And this is a very interesting moment you say that, because I was on the train. And I wear white all the time. It's not a requirement of interfaith ministers, but I do because it was a message in meditation 24 years ago. So I've been wearing white 24 years now. And a woman, a Latina sister, walked up to me and said, are you as pure inside as you look outside? And like this, we just cracked up, like nobody ever asked me that question. And I said, well, I hope so.
At least that's the intent, right?
But it made me pause to say, well, maybe, Nafisa, you need to up your prayer and meditation a little bit. So I just looked at my week, at my schedule. Where can you do a little bit more? And I found that I had time where I could be with God a little bit more, not out in the world, me personally holding still with God. And sometimes we need that little reality check. Here's a woman I had, for stranger, trained, but the thought, the word of it said, ah. And so we have to listen to ourselves. We often don't. Look at the world. We're
Yeah.
not listening. We're not listening.
Well, look at it with an open
A
heart.
Exactly. And then you listen.
I got
But
you.
I do want to make sure I'm saying that it's our 20th anniversary, and not only creating sacred space, but we're having a big party on our actual incorporation day, Friday, April 26th. That'll be on the website as well. We have a cleanse coming up in March. We're going to do a gallery of who we were for 20 years in October, and of course, Dancing into the Light in December, a big shindig to come out and literally dance, meditate, eat, have a end of year 20th celebration.
Oh, you definitely have to keep us up to
Oh,
date on
definitely.
every single step.
Absolutely.
But in
Most
the
definitely.
meantime, I do want to thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome.
For
Thank
sharing
you.
all of this insight, all of
You're
this
welcome.
wisdom, these
You're welcome.
jewels
You're
with
welcome.
us, with me, our viewers. Reverend Nafisa Sharriff, everyone. Once again, entering the Holy of Holies founder and CEO. And for more information, if you're interested in the meditation, the altar building, the events that she has coming up, you can visit ethoh.org. That's ethoh.org. All right, stay tuned. There's more open when we return.